I just got done recording the most beautiful and lengthy conversation with someone who I had crossed paths with at least 20 years ago. Her name is Erin, and she has such a beautiful story that she is vulnerably sharing with not just me, but the listeners, because she feels called to. Erin and I actually met in high school, and we've just recently reconnected. I reached out to her because I felt like I felt the calling to have her share her story, and this story hits very close to home for me. And I am grateful to hold the space and be the platform that she shares this story on. Erin did go through her navigating this season of courage where she was diagnosed with acute kidney failure at age 26. And she advocated for herself because she wasn't getting the answers from local doctors. And she was making calls and researching, knocking on doors, trying to get the answers that she wasn't being given, or, they weren't helping her along the way. So she kind of had to self-advocate for herself on this journey. And she talked about how she had divine guidance along this journey and was added to a transplant list. And she's super grateful for this journey that she has been on. And her perspective is just so enlightening from beginning to end. I'm going to be breaking this episode up into 2 bits because I feel like it's just too long to put in one episode. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not, I don't expect people to have almost 2 hours to just sit and listen to nonstop unless you're driving. But I really want everybody to take away from this episode, these 2 episodes, as much as they possibly can, because there's so many beautiful, beautiful bits and full circles and all and again, she intertwined and weaved everything so beautifully together. So I think she did such a great job on sharing her story. There was a point where she felt like she was failing at everything. She lost her job and in the midst of this health crisis, and she was parenting her 2 kids and being, a mom and a wife. And again, she just felt defeated and like the weight of the world was on her shoulders. I'm so proud of her, and I'm so proud of her being able to vulnerably show up and share her story with everybody, because I've been getting some messages lately, personal messages, either on social media or via text, how the women that I've had on this show have impacted these other women, and how it's part of their journey, and how they're showing up in courageous ways to seek the help that they need, or giving them the affirmation of like, yes, I'm on the right path. I'm on the right journey. This is hard, but I'm going to be able to navigate this and overcome it and get to the other side. So again, I'm just super grateful I can hold the space for these women to share their seasons of courage, because I feel like sometimes we don't take a minute and recognize like that hard shit is really hard, and that we can get through hard things and we can get to the other side. And Erin, I just love her exuberant expressions. And I mean, you can't see us on this is just audio. We're not on YouTube yet, guys, but give me a minute. But she had her kidney transplant almost a year ago, coming up on September 24th. And something that she said was that she is reconnecting with parts of her that she loves. And she's so grateful for the gift of life. She said she's a doer and a giver in her story. And for her to be able to receive the gift of life and receive this kidney from somebody she'll never get to meet. I mean, oh my gosh, I started getting teary-eyed when she was talking. It's just such a humbling appreciation of how beautiful life truly is. And she said there were so many people on the back end of who helped make this journey possible. from family to friends to community. I mean, everybody rallied together behind Erin and her family. She kept she kept getting asked the question, how are you, through being sick and her kidneys failing. And to after the kidney transplant, she just she said, I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm vertical today. So I just loved her tenacity for life and letting go of things that don't serve her, and truly what a balanced life is. No matter what you're going through, that's just part of life. And she's very unapologetically herself, and that the journey of life doesn't stop. So there's just so many good things in this episode. Again, I wanted to bring it to you in bite-sized pieces because I did not want to overwhelm everybody to feel like, oh, I have to listen in one bite. So I'm going to break this up. I don't know how yet. I got to figure that out. But just talking out loud, lifetime. I just want to share. I'm honored to be the platform that Erin shares her story on. I hope you guys enjoy. Welcome to the Kindred Journey podcast, the podcast where women share their experiences of stepping into courage when comfort is no longer an option. This is the podcast for connecting in community with women who have been shaped by the liberating to challenging seasons that life endures. I am your host, Leslie. I am a wife, mother, daughter, sister, and friend. I too have experienced these seasons in life, and I want you to know that you are surrounded by a community of courageous, real women here for you. I can't wait to connect, so grab your favorite beverage and join me on this kindred journey. Hi, Erin. How's it
Hello,
going?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm so excited to see you and reconnect with you. And we have a little bit of I know you personally, so this is so exciting that you were willing to come on and share your story when I reached out to you. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm like so honored that this opportunity has been presented. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, and just serendipitous timing, I feel like, kind of what you shared with me when I did reach out to you and connect with you. I know a little bit about you, but we haven't connected in, gosh, maybe 10 plus years. I think we're from
Yeah,
the same hometown-ish, same area. And so maybe you could just do like a slight introduction about yourself
sure.
and yeah, take it away.
Well, hello. I'm Erin. I am a wife, mother, um, friend. I have notes, so because I know
Perfect.
I
Yeah,
need them. Um,
absolutely.
So I am a wife, mother, sister, aunt, and friend, spiritually guided by the earth and astrology, and currently reclaiming my relationship with God through Christianity.
Mm.
My journey has been one of healing through interruptions, striving to prioritize courage over comfort, while managing pivotal health crises, from navigating life as a single parent to meeting my husband and forming a blended family, which is a lot in
Oh my
itself.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Um, so we're a family of four. And choosing for myself and my family has often felt like it's been my only choice, really. Like putting my personal needs aside to take care of my family and be there to support them, but also in this new space of no, I'm a priority. Like I need to be here. So I'm so excited that in this season we've overcome so many obstacles along the way, and it's just made us more resilient.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
thankful for this opportunity to share my story.
Mm.
I'm
I
probably going to cry. So
That's okay. I might cry. I got full body chills a minute ago. So, and that's like my inkling that it's going to be good. So I'm so
yeah,
excited. Before we do get started, I just love to share with women, my job here on the podcast is to hold space for you to share your story. So anything that you do say is honored and respected. And I just appreciate you having the courage to show up and be vulnerable and share your story with others. I think it does take a lot of courage, especially everything that you just shared, and something you said was healing through interruptions. I think that's life, right? So I think
right.
I can't I can't wait to see where this conversation goes. I'm so excited for you to share a little bit of your story. And it sounds like it's been a process unfolding, right? Like over several years. And like you said, you're kind of reconnecting with God through Christianity, which I would love to hear about that as well. Whatever you're willing to share in that process.
Sure.
Like I'm just so excited that you're here. So thank you for having the courage to show up and share your story, because it truly does take courage to be vulnerable.
Absolutely. Being in a space of like being scared to death and just continuing forward of like, I don't know what's on the other side, but I'm going to take this opportunity and run with it.
Good. Oh, well, I know, and I've heard something recently. It's like fear is anticipated excitement, because it is. I mean, it's a
Yes.
more positive way to look at fear. Like you said, I'm going to take this. And you said you kind of prayed about it. And like, I showed up in your inbox and was like, hey, can you come on and share your story? Like, I think a few days later, like
Literally.
just kind of divine
It was
timing.
the night after, Leslie,
Oh,
like,
wow.
my husband and I were so we spend time at night, like, just reconnecting and talking about our day and where we wanna go in our life and what that path looks like for our kids, and creating emotionally resilient teenagers in a
Mm.
world that is so insane.
Yeah,
Like,
chaotic.
you have little ones, and I forgot what that was like because my single life was fight or flight, I felt like all the
Mm.
time, and so I look at other people like you with little kids and go, "I don't even remember." I mean, I remember it, of course, but like, ew, babies. And now I
I hear
have
you black
teenagers.
out. Yeah, I hear you black out. My sisters are like so far removed from this stage, and they're like, oh, you forget this. And I'm like, you do?
Yeah,
Because I'm like awake at night thinking of the things that I'm going through. So,
100%. And then, like, my kids are 13 and 15. So
okay.
my daughter is mine biologically, and I don't believe in stepkids. Like, Van
Mm.
is my child. Like,
Mm.
we sit and he shares his life with me and whatever he feels comfortable with his friends and his social life. And he comes to me for advice. And I'm in awe of my teenage kids constantly because they share their journeys and they come to my husband and I and they're like, we need help. And so we're there.
And for you to be that safe space for them, I think is the best gift that you can give them, because you're right, this day and age with teenagers and kids and raising children into this, it's a great world. It's a good world, but there's a lot of horrible things in it, right? And
Absolutely.
I think it's easier to be consumed by the negative versus the positive, or the focused on. And so I think what you're doing, being a proactive parent of holding that space for your children to come to you, to be that safe space, kind of like what I'm doing for women here on the podcast. I'm holding
Yeah,
this space,
absolutely.
and for you to come and share your story. So I can totally resonate with that, and I wholeheartedly believe what you're doing is what every teenager needs. Every kid needs is a safe space to call home, not just in four walls, but within their parents' arms as well.
Well,
So,
so this transformative journey has been I want to create a place for my kids to run home to instead of run away from. So
mm,
like you lose your job when you're an adult, come home. You break up with your girlfriend, come home. You stumble and fall. Come home and know that this is a space where you can leave all of the other stuff outside and be welcomed and embraced and know that we might have hard conversations and you might have to face hard realities that you may have done something wrong, but know
mhm.
that dad and I are going to be here to help you through that journey to get you to
and
the other side.
love you unconditionally. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Love is at the center of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm just so excited for you to share. I love everything you're doing. I feel like that kind of emulates, what God does for us as his children. I think it's all just so beautiful. And if you wouldn't mind sharing however you see fit, a moment or a season, which sounds like it's more of a season, where you had to step into courage when comfort was truly no longer an option.
Absolutely. So, one of the biggest pivotal moments has been my health journey. So 2017, 2018, I'm a single parent full time. I've had my daughter sole legal and sole physical custody since she was 3. So it's just been us, like us against the world. But also, like I referenced, it's been wild because I look back and I'm like, holy crap, Erin, like you did that, but you were alone. And while I felt like, I mean, I had a village, but oftentimes I didn't feel like the village had me. Like I was asking for help and people were giving it to us, but it was kind of like a almost a here's a leg up, but you need to do something for me. And so
Mm.
through that
Martyr.
journey, yeah, so 2018 October, um, I went to bed like any other night, was working like on this career path, boss girl energy of working a good job, providing for my family, of Arlie and I, buying my first house on my own, like all of
Mm.
those moments, and then neglecting my health. So, and just putting my health to the side. And so divine intervention, my body was like, you're done. Like you have to do this, you have to focus on this. And so I went, it was October 3rd. I put Arlie to bed like any other night, read her a story, and then made her lunch for the next day and went to bed. And I had this like twitch on my left side, not thinking anything of it, just took some, and had a headache, just took some Tylenol and went to bed. Woke up the next day and the whole left side of my face was just checked out, like gone on vacation, didn't come to work that day. And I'm like, cool. Well, nobody else is going to pay my bills, so I have to go to work. So I like drove Arlie to school, went to work, and I'm sitting at my desk. And the way my desk was positioned, you couldn't see the left side of my face. So I was like, okay, I can do this. My boss comes in and I like turn and she's like, excuse my language, but she's like, Erin, what the fuck? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just winging it. She's like, I can't tell you to go home, but you really should take care of yourself. So of course I like call my mom and she's like, go to the hospital, Erin. Like, this is not good. You're probably having a stroke. Um, Again, I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's probably just, I'm just tired. And so my key fob on my car was dead. So I stopped at the dealership to get a new battery because I wasn't going to leave my car unlocked in the parking lot of the hospital.
No.
Like, I look back and I'm like, you were so stupid. Like, why'd you do that? So then I get to the hospital and after doing all of that stuff, and I like walk in and everybody is like looking at me like I have two heads, right? And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. So they rush me back to triage me. My blood pressure was 300 over
Oh my
280.
God.
Yeah. So that was like a really aha moment of like, this is not good, Erin. And like I had had issues with high blood pressure before. Like my daughter was born 2 months early. My blood pressure at the time was like 196 over 121, but I just attributed it to stress. Like you're a single parent, you're trying to do all this on your own, and then this is what's happening. This is your body's reaction to stress. So they admit me to the hospital, and this I'm like sitting in the room, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't afford the medical bills, so I just need to go home and go back to work. And if you're not going to tell me what's wrong, check me out. Like I'm done. This doctor comes in and he looks like he belongs on the Big Bang Theory. Like he's short and he's got this mop of hair and he like comes in barreling. And I'm just like halfway, like cockeyed smiling. And he's like, yeah, we don't know what's wrong, but you're going to need Botox to fix your smile. And I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm done. Like, this is not medical advice that I'm willing to
No.
accept. So then I start like going to doctors and they're throwing just prescriptions like left and right, trying to get my blood pressure down. Seeing doctors that were like, you're too fat, you need to go on a diet, like all these things. So I start really considering all of those factors of like, what's my lifestyle look like? Am I living for other people or am I living for myself? Like, what's the future look like? And so through self advocacy, because I was seeing doctors here, and in that time frame in 2018, they were like, you have acute kidney failure, like your kidney functions are starting to decline. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like, tell me, because I need help. I don't understand this. And they're like, well, we just need to monitor you. I'm like, you're going to monitor it? Like, I'm a young woman. This is not normal. Like,
Yeah.
everything
How
else seems
old were
great.
you?
I was 20, 26, 27. So, like, everything should be, all other functions are normal. Like, I have, like, nothing else is wrong. It's just my kidney functions and my high blood pressure. And so through like the self advocacy period of like trying to find doctors, my mom ended up going with me. Like, I'm so appreciative because she was like, you're not taking no, and
Right.
I'm here with you. So we ended up in San Francisco at this doctor's office. And as I think back about it, it was a lot of like, it almost reminded me of an apartment because being from a small town, like, and going to a big city, it's like you just make an office where you can.
Right.
And so this doctor, I'm sitting in his office and he's like, "So no red meat, no sex, no chocolate, and no alcohol." And I'm like, "So you want me to die? Like that's life. I'm a single woman. Like I'm trying to be liberated and live my life and do all of these things, and you're telling me I can't live."
Right.
And so,
Take the steak
and
away. We're done.
yeah, never
Oh
mind the
my
sex part.
God.
Just
Right.
like give me the
I'm
red meat.
yeah, exactly. We have steak. Oh my,
Yeah.
and where was your daughter during all of this?
Thankfully we had like, so like I said, I was a single parent, so we had a really good family unit of people who were helping and like helping me get her to school and everything. And so I was really appreciative of the connections with quality individuals of like, you're going through this, like let's make sure that you and your daughter are taken care of.
Hmm.
And so, and it was mainly family in that period of time. And of course, I had friends who were on the journey too, but like I was also that single dating, trying to figure out and like still maintain a social life while
Hmm.
being a parent and finding somebody who fit into our lifestyle, like our who could be a dad eventually for Arlie, who could be that person for her. And so 2000
Yeah, there's extra criteria involved for when you're
exactly.
dating and you have a
Yeah,
kid at home. Yeah, exactly.
right. So I end up in San Francisco. I'm not taking those answers because I'm like, this is insane. Like you're telling me not to live. And so I started doing my own research and started while seeing doctors in our local town. But to be honest, it always felt like it lacked. Like
Hmm.
it was just okay, go away. Like
Yeah.
you're done. We'll see you for 10 minutes. Kick you down the road. So in the self advocacy period, I just started calling. So by now it's 2019, um, March of 2019. So I met my husband. We were dating then, and he was going through his own set of tumultuous problems, like with his now ex-wife, and
Mm.
trying to balance my health journey to blending, like meeting people, meeting my husband, and dating. And looking back at those periods of time, like my husband, he made me work for it, but he also made himself work for it. Like our dating period was quality. It was something that I had never experienced before.
Mm.
And so like we waited 6+ dates before he made the first move. And I was like, dude, are you friend zoning me? Like trying to figure this out where everybody else is like this rush of
Right.
having to date and go to bed and all these things. And he was like, no, I want to take my time. Like, and
Mm.
so he was on
Intentional.
yes, very intentional. And so he's in law enforcement. And so he graduated from academy right in 2018. And then 2019, we start dating and he's on FTO and going through all the field training and his own roller coaster while we're trying to date. And there were pretty pivotal moments then where we were like, okay, either this is going to work or it's not. Like,
Right.
we have to figure this out. And so I was very transparent with him, like, showed him the videos of like my face and all the things, and very self conscious because back then I look back and I'm like, yeah, like your physical appearance was so important to you, Erin. Like, you had to be this for everybody else and not yourself.
Mm.
And so I'm working at public health in 2019. I start calling. Like I finally saw a doctor here, and he was like, "Yeah, we'll see you in a year. We don't know what's going on, but your kidney functions are declining, but we just don't know." So I don't take that for an answer. I'm like, "That's not good enough." So I start calling, like UC Davis, San Francisco, all these doctors, and I finally, like, divine guidance is really what I think it is, because I called this number on the UC Davis website and then started this doctor answers, and he ended up being the lead doctor for hypertension driven kidney failure. And so he was on his way to a conference. I just bared my soul of like, this is all that is going on. I'm hitting roadblocks. I don't know what to do. And he's like, yeah, it sounds like you could be a candidate for UC Davis. Let me talk to my colleagues. I'm in traffic. I'll call you back, or somebody will call you back. That following Wednesday, I had an appointment like scheduled for UC Davis. I saw a doctor down there. So this is probably like a year later, October, November ish. I see a doctor in UC Davis, and he's like, yeah, your kidney functions are seriously declining. Like everything else, your thyroid's good, like everything else is great, but your kidney functions are plummeting, Erin. And so in that period of time, I did the Mediterranean diet because in research of like, how can I still live
Right.
while fixing my body? And
By
so,
figuring this
uh,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and feeling hopeless in points because nobody knew, nobody had an answer. And so I end up down at UC Davis with this doctor, and he's like, you need to be on the transplant list. Like your kidney functions are going steadily. And by that time, I want to
What
say it
was
was
your
like,
GFR? Do you
oh
remember?
gosh, I should have wrote this down.
That's okay.
My
Sorry, and we don't have to, it's
No,
not
no,
a
you're
big
good.
deal. I'm just curious.
So at that point in time, like my kidney functions were 20% roughly
And
total
isn't it,
function.
sorry, isn't that general function rate? Is GFR general
Yeah,
function rate? Like, and it has to be over for the listeners, I guess. That's why is it over 50, 60%?
I think
It's like
so.
functioning. Yeah, that's
This
fine.
and while we're talking about it, it's a blur back then too,
Right.
because I think
Just like
back of
early
like,
motherhood. It's a blur.
yes, of like, you want me to do all these things while still being smiley and living my life. Great. We'll just keep going.
Right.
So
Sorry, I
we
didn't mean
ended up,
to.
no, you're good. I appreciate this. So we ended up, my mom, again, my mom's with me, and we end up down at this like seminar for transplant patients of like the do's and don'ts and what they expect of you. And it's so rigid. Like if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're out. Like you're done. And
Yeah.
so having to figure out my blood type. So my blood type is O positive. And they're like, yeah, so you're going to wait 5 to 7 years before you get a transplant. And I'm like, cool. And you're telling me my kidney functions are so low? Like, what's going to happen? So we, by December, January of 2019, I go through all of the steps, being a pincushion for blood tests and all of these things. And I finally make it on the transplant list, and I'm active. And so my husband proposes in 2000, the end October of 2019. So there's like all these pivotal moments happening. And then I'm like, woo, wedding. Like, this is great. Like, this is what I've asked for. I've asked somebody to be there with me and like support me and be a dad to Arlie. And I have a son. And like, this is great while maintaining all of this health stuff. So,
And
making a,
working
and
and
oh, yeah, let's
yeah,
not
and
forget that I'm trying to
living.
work,
Right, right. Yeah.
just living really.
Living life.
Right. And so we're going through this journey, and my rates are dropping even lower, and I'm exhausted, nauseous, like losing weight, don't know why, while all of this is happening. And then COVID happens, right? And like I said, I was working at public health, and I appreciate the journey that that brought me to, because I worked with some incredible people who were like, no, Erin, like, don't take that for an answer. Keep going, keep pushing. And so, amidst all of the chaos of COVID, and then my kids are being homeschooled and I'm working from home part time. Thankfully, I was able to do that, as my kids are Zoom meeting with their teachers. And I'm like, well, good luck, because I don't know how to do what you're doing in school. And why don't you just learn division the way I learned division? Why do you have to learn it the way that they're teaching you through a computer? And so, and my husband is in law enforcement. I'll digress a little because these are like cool moments. So while he was on FTO and we were dating, I was the first call he made, like when he passed FTO. And it was like midnight, 1 o'clock. And he's like, I made it. Like, I passed. I don't know what to do. I'm by myself in a car. And his FTO officer was like, don't get into trouble. Just, you got a few more hours. Just don't look for trouble. And he's like cruising around, so excited, and called me. And like, I appreciate those moments looking back,
Yeah.
because like those are monumental times of like, he called me. He could have called his mom, he could have called his dad, and he called me. And so carrying all of those moments through and like seeing him as a dad and seeing him in his role for me as my spouse and being like, we're not taking no for an answer. Like, I'm here to support you. But also seeing him break at times because as his person is basically dying in front of him, he can't fix it. And in his role, he's a fixer. He's
Yeah.
in law enforcement, he's the one that you call when you need
You
somebody
have a
else to do
problem.
the fight for you. Yeah.
Right.
And he can't fix this problem. And so recognizing that seeing him go through this too has been being on the other side of it is amazing. So by this time, we have downsized in a house so we can afford to buy our own house around that same time. Um, COVID and all of these things are happening while they're saying if you don't get the COVID vaccine, you're removed from the transplant list. And they kept telling my husband, you have to get the COVID vaccine and be fully boosted in order to be in the room with your wife. Yeah, I know, like seriously. And I'm like, well, and working with public health and seeing all of this stuff and the data and everything, and then going, well, wait a minute, like, and trying to plan a wedding that May of 2020. I'm like, okay, so you're telling me to really not live and like put our stuff on the back burner and not be able to see my husband's grandma and our family and be able to celebrate these big moments. I think I'm going to take a step back. And the no matter what listeners' beliefs are on COVID, like I think it's a pivotal moment for all of us to really look back and go, at least for me, to look back and go, I appreciate the time that I spent and I got to talk to some really incredible people and work with some incredible doctors. But then people were silenced through the journeys and
Mm.
listening to families call and go, I can't even see my kids because of this. And you want me to do all of these things? Really taking those moments back. And then for myself on this journey of you have to be fully vaccinated and boosted to even be considered for a kidney. And I was like, cool, I'm going to take my chances. Like, I'm otherwise healthy. There's nothing wrong with me. To I'm just gonna live and see what happens. And so my like maintaining a better diet, maintaining healthier lifestyles, and being present was really important. And so through this journey, my kidney functions are continuing to drop. Thankfully, the doctors at UC Davis got my blood pressure under control. It wasn't 300 over 280, but it was 150 over like 120. So it's still high, but it's not like high.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
Yeah, that
so
high, through the roof high.
exactly, like stroke level high. And um, so they're treating me virtually because when I would go down for doctor's appointments, I could only go by myself. I couldn't have a support system. They would make you like get your temperature taken at the door, all of these things. And I'm like, I'm fine. Like I live outside. I have animals. Like
Mhm.
I live in nature, you know? And so, I mean, I don't live outside. Let me just clarify.
Right.
I live in a house, but I like to be
I
outside.
pick up what you're putting down.
People are going to be like, she's a real hippie. No, I'm
You're
just
right.
kidding.
Yeah, barefoot and fancy
Yeah.
free.
So at this point, my doctor, because I'm stubborn, they're like, when you're ready, like dialysis is on the horizon for you and
Mm.
you need to, when you're ready to do it. But I was exhausted. I took a promotion from COVID or from working at public health to the admin office of the county that I was working in. And so I was like, okay, this is a boss job. Like I'm going to do this well while trying to maintain all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But my health is continuing to decline and I'm exhausted and I have like purple bags under my eyes and people are like, "How are you?" And not being able to fully answer that question because you're like, "Yeah, I think I'm okay." So,
Yeah, how do you answer that?
exactly.
Well,
While you're balancing all these other
and
things like
COVID and all the
parents,
things. Yeah. All the things that
right.
came with COVID too, like not
Yes.
just 2020, but everything after.
Yeah, exactly.
How
And
was it?
then
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
How was it with, I mean, because yeah, I guess for listeners who aren't familiar with like dialysis is a system that you can go on, you can do in home treatment or go to a clinic and
Mhm.
basically um there's two different, there's several kinds, but it's because your kidneys are not doing the proper function of filtering out the toxins from your body. That's why
Correct.
you were so tired and not feeling well. I just, if people aren't familiar with this, I don't want to say
Yeah.
fortunately, but like I am very familiar with this. So yeah, it's just you feel like shit and it sucks. And like you think a bad day of at the office and a bad night's sleep combined, it's like tenfold. It's so much worse than
Right.
that.
So amidst all of that, as you're talking about, 100%, the physical exhaustion, the mental exhaustion, and the emotional exhaustion of parenting kids, being like being the sole parent at times, because when my husband would get called or would be on shift, like he's got to go. And then the in my position, the political demands, because in the position, I worked with a lot of the supervisors for the community, like the board of supervisors who are elected. And the tumultuous pieces of that with the public coming and being like, you're taking my rights, and it being like, well, we're just trying to do what we are being instructed to do. So all of those demands. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I just want to provide for my family. Like,
Yeah. I
I
just
just
want
want
to
to go home
live.
with you. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, yeah, so I think it was April of 20. So flash forward, April of 22. I was let go from my job the day before my permanent date amidst all of that. And I'm like, I'm failing. I'm failing on all fronts. I can't keep
Mm.
a job. I can't maintain my health. My kids are my kids, my husband's job, like all of these things. I can't even keep a clean house. Like those moments of just almost like despair, right? And like trying to just get rid of everything that doesn't matter and maintain what does. So through this journey, again, my husband has been my rock. Like my husband and my kids, they are phenomenal. Like I I don't know where I would be without them in this process, because they were like, "It's okay, mom. It's okay. Like we've got you."
Yeah.
So I lose my job, continuing to do all these things, and I'm like I have to make myself a priority. So I start focusing and bringing back in elements of my life, my childhood, of like the Western ways of life and those pieces and those fundamentals that I enjoyed. And so we purchased horses and we went in that route, and I was getting back into it, but then all while health is happening, and I'm just like almost like blocking it out, like this isn't real, this your health journey and all of this dialysis and kidney failure, it's not happening,
Yeah.
because it was so heavy, like a heavy
Yeah.
weight of you could die and
Yeah.
you could leave your family, and what are you leaving for them? And so there were those moments of like I would cry myself to sleep, or my husband, I would just be like, I have to sleep on the couch because I can't sleep, and I would cry because,
Mm.
and if he hears this, it's not that I wanted to leave leave you in bed by yourself, but like I needed to be alone,
Yeah.
because, or crying in the shower because I didn't want my kids to see me hit those breaking points.
Mm.
And in this journey of health and trying to prioritize myself, those, like I look back on those moments of like hitting the bottom, so to speak, and being like, those are those were hard times for me mentally. And I didn't want to end my life, because I love life and I live life to the fullest, but also looking at it and going, holy shit, Erin, like that was a lot.
Yeah.
And so,
You were surviving, truly
yeah,
surviving.
100% fight or flight.
Yeah.
Like I referenced my single life before my married life, and I was in full fight or flight, to where I am in this journey, and it was fight or flight. Like I was in survival mode of, it was so much to just get out of bed every day and put on a face and make my kids lunches and listen to their struggles. Like my daughter had friends who were self-harming, and she would come to me and be like, "Mom, what do I do?" And I'm like, "You go to a teacher, you talk to them, you tell your friends that you're there for them, you support them." And
Mm.
being where we are now, being able to look back and be like, "Okay, my kids they're mentally resilient. Like they're able to look at their friends' lives and realize I can come home." I like I said before, being able to have a place where they can come home to instead of run from. So I'm thankful for this journey because it's full circle.
Yeah.
And so 20 so 23, I started a new job. I mean, I had had jobs between then, but I like started a new job, and my health continued to decline and everything. And so
Still
by
no
now it's like
transplant.
still no transplant. They're like still requiring the vaccine, still requiring all these things. And my husband's like, well, I want to be there for Erin, so I'm going to go get vaccinated. And I'm like, can we pause? Can we just take a step back? Because there's enough evidence at this point that says it's probably not a good idea, but almost like, for lack of better terms, bullying. Like, you have to do this to have this.
Yeah.
And so we're going through this journey, and they're like, so you let's see. So that's 22, 23. So my doctors are like, Erin, your kidney functions are at 5%, like
And you're not on
total.
dialysis.
I'm not on dialysis at this point. Like I was like, and looking back I'm seeing your face, and I'm like, yeah, this is crazy, because I was at 5% and I was still managing, but I was failing while managing. Like, I can
Yeah.
fully look back and be like, this was hard. Like, because I was in this struggle of feeling like I had to keep going. Like, I couldn't stop. The courage over comfort. Like, your whole platform is so incredible. Let's just take a moment and
Thank
pause
you.
and look at
Thank
that, because
you.
it is courageous moments of like being on the other side of it and going like, that was a lot. And to unpack that bag alone, of feeling like I had to keep going to work. I had to do all these things because there were bills that needed to be met and all of these different pieces. And while I did have my husband, and it was a different perspective because I was used to doing it solely on my own before, and that hyper independence, while I have this like structure of a husband who is like, I'm a provider, like, give it to me for a minute and let me take that for you, because
Yeah.
you're not meant to do this by yourself.
Lay it down.
And
I think
so,
it sounds like a lot of like your old tendencies or your old habits of like, and like I think you just said you were stubborn. Maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but or you
no,
said you
no,
were maybe resilient. I'm not sure, but same similar terms. But maybe I see a lot of parallel. Like you're just still trying to fight through and like
yeah,
trying to prove and trying to do the bills. And yes, like while I'm trying to just live, like
right.
I feel like maybe that I don't know, like I want you to interject, but like it sounds like you're almost about ready to lay it down. Like I don't know, like just surrender.
I have goosebumps because that's like a yes. Like, it is that moment of like watching, having a
The
blended household.
anticipation is killing me.
Yes.
I'm like, get to the
Well,
climax. No.
I'm trying.
No.
The you're right. Like, the points of being hitting rock bottom and going, I can't do this on my own. Like, and really putting things into priorities of buckets of like your health, your family, your marriage, your kids, your professional life, and going, I can't do it all. Like, the plates are going to start, I'm juggling, and the plates are going to start falling, and
Yeah.
they're all going to fall.
And break.
And
Yeah.
so
Shatter.
we had the conversation of like, it's time to go on dialysis. You like, your body is not able to do it. Like, and I was consuming probably almost a gallon to a gallon and a half of water a day. Like, I was
Yeah.
thirsty. I was drinking so much water, eating, and I would be naive to say that I was this pillar of health, because I was like still going to In and Out, because the kids would be like, I want a double double, I want this, and I'd be like, okay, that sounds great. I don't have to cook dinner tonight.
Right.
Cool.
Exactly. Exactly.
You don't want homemade dinner? Cool. I'll just take a break. But those breaks were like exhaustion, sleeping on the couch, because I couldn't be present for my husband, who was like,
Mhm.
I need you to be my wife and all of the requirements as a wife, as a mom, while having a blended family and sharing custody of our son, of like him going home to his mom's house. And in this journey, like, the letting go, because I'm a truth and transparent person. Like, I'm a deep dweller. Like, I live in the deep waters, and I know, looking back, like, that isn't for everybody. And I'm okay with being like, hey, this is a shitty situation. divorce in itself is hard, co-parenting in itself is hard, compiling it with all of these other things. I recognize that this might not be the journey for you at this moment, but I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I love him like he's my own. And so in all of this, while managing and trying to maintain a household, they tell me I have to have dialysis. And I'm like, okay. So my husband and I, we come back together and we make these plans. And they tell me, okay, you could do peritoneal, which is at home dialysis. And so, but then there's all the rigid training that they make you go through of like going to a dialysis center. And I'm fortunate that here we have one, we have two.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started researching those different facilities and like talking to people here of like, which facility do you like better? Like, how do they treat you? Because I'm a relationship building person. And so I want to build a relationship with the person I'm working with.
Yeah.
And know
Important.
that they're going to treat me the same way. And so, fortunately, the woman who was my trainer, so to speak, she was like walking me through all these things and like leading up to the surgery date for my peritoneal port to be installed in my abdomen. She was amazing. She's like, it's gonna be okay, Erin. Like you can still live your life. You can still go camping. You can still do all these things, but you are at higher risk of infection because you have this open port that is a direct uh, place into your body. And if you don't take care of it, which created this whole like almost feeling of uncertainty in myself of like, I'm going to give myself an infection. It's going to happen. And then her being like, no animals in bed with you. And I'm like, but I love my animals. Like,
Yeah.
or changing your diet. You have to watch what you eat. And like your phosphorus levels are high because you're drinking too much black tea. So you need to limit that and like all these things. And I remember hitting those moments of like, I call it despair, but like feeling like I had no other choice but to go, okay, like I'm giving it up. Like I can't. I just have to do this because this is what they're telling me. And so they did my surgery, my port surgery at UC Davis. Um, and the vein parts of me was like, can you put it here? Because like I don't like my body as it is. And so I just don't want to have all these scars, right?
Mm.
And then my husband's like, Erin, who are you trying to impress? Like, I love your body. I love who you are. Like, I want you to be here. And so,
Yeah.
really, like, putting aside the vanity pieces of it and being vulnerable and being like, okay, like, it doesn't matter. I could be, ugly and in a brown bag and he would still love me for who I am. So by now, my port's installed and I'm still going through the training pieces, and they're like doing the fluid bags in the facility still. I'm not like released to do it at home. And so I start experiencing pain, like discomfort. And I'm like, this doesn't feel normal. And like, probably I was a little more hypersensitive to it because it was new, but also I'm like, I'm experiencing a lot of pressure in my lower abdominal. Like, this is not okay. And so the woman, she's like, we should probably have an x-ray. Well, so I go to a local place and they do like a imaging. The port head end was it was perforating my bladder
Oh my
in its
gosh.
own. I'm like, holy crap. So I go back for another surgery for them to fix it because I have a smaller torso, and like they measure the distance of the cord for inside your body, or the line. So they fix it. And so I'm now, all of the dialysis fluid is getting delivered to my house, and it's on a pallet, and it's all these different bags and all these different things. And the machine, they don't release you to do the machine at home until you've like passed all of these different points. So I'm like, have an IV bag hanging from a pole, measuring my blood pressure, my weight, and all these different points in the fluid intake I had that day. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I could raise kids and I can fight the world, but this is a lot. And so my husband being the like my rock, and he's like, Erin, you can. Like, you could do all of this. Like, there is no, you can't. You are this strong woman. And so really having to get to a place where I was like, okay, I can do this.
What a
So
great supporter that you have. And just just everything that you're sharing about how like unconditional love is what he has for you, and to allow him to be that space for you is, especially from, like you were saying, fight or flight, doing it all. Like, it's sometimes hard to receive that love, and sometimes hard to receive the care from someone else when you were used to caring for yourself and your daughter for all that time.
Well, and also I at times like I didn't feel like I deserved it. Like that feeling of like because of what I had been through before of like being in relationships with people who would take instead of give, and I would give because that's the type of person I am, and quite frankly being in some very inappropriate domestic violence situations that happened and being on the other side of it, and my husband in his job, the warrior that's like, I'm going to go beat up every person who hurt you,
Mm-hmm.
and then wanting to beat up this health journey for me, and he's like, you are okay, like, and being in this space that he has helped to be like, don't worry about anything else, I've got you, we've got this house, we'll do it together.
Yeah.
And his family, like, I would like to recognize, like, his family is incredible. Like, I have the best mother-in-law who's like, what do you need? I got the kids, I'll do this, I'll take your kids here, I'll do whatever you need, let me drop off food for you, like, let us just help you.
Let
And
us love you.
yeah, and it's such an incredible experience that I've never had. And so there's oftentimes I like have to pinch myself because I'm like, is this real? Like, this is happening. So I digress again. So
Okay.
we're going through all of this stuff, and like, so I get my dialysis port placed. I'm trying to go back to work. I'm trying to maintain all these things. To It's now 20. Okay, so we're in 2023. So they call me in March, or April, I'm sorry, around that time frame. Like, everything becomes fuzzy. So they call me and they're like, hey, we're not requiring you to have the COVID vaccine anymore. We're going to get you back on the transplant list. And I'm like, so what was all that time? And they're like, well, you didn't lose your place on the transplant list, but like, you didn't gain anything. And I'm like, cool. So I have to start all over again, is what I'm hearing. So they
But
made
you
me
had your
jump.
spot hold. Your
Well,
spot was
the
held.
time. So
Okay.
because I didn't do what they wanted of getting the COVID vaccine and going through all of those
Comply
hurdles, right?
or
Um,
conform. Your choice.
Conform, exactly. Comply, conform. Um, they So I had been on the transplant list since 2019. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So roughly four and a half, but I lost all of the COVID time. And
Mm-hmm.
then they said, uh, you're not. So imagine being 100 on a list, and then they just freeze you there. So you have 1 to 99 in front of you, and you have to continue to climb the ladder.
Gotcha.
And so they called me. I'm like sitting in my car on my lunch, and they're like, congratulations. You like, that's what it felt like I had won a game show, because they were like, you don't have to get the COVID vaccine. We're not requiring it. You can start all over again. And I'm like, what do you mean I have to start all over again? We have to reapply to get a transplant, like new blood work, all these different steps. And I'm like, but you just said like I didn't lose anything. So I went through those hurdles, and finally by July, I was I was given the green light of like, you can have all this stuff,
July of
or you can,
24.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, oh my gosh, we're in 24.
Or
Well,
July
no,
of
it would be
23.
23.
Yeah,
Yeah,
July of
you're in.
2023. Okay. So over a year ago. Okay.
Yeah, so my transplant was September 24 is the day that we got the call. So everything before that, leading up to that, was like, um, you don't have to jump through all these hoops and get the COVID vaccine anymore. And you can just come and we'll put you back on the list, so to speak. So I jumped through all those hoops. And by July, I was given the green light. And they're like, but it could be another 5 years, Erin. I'm like, now you're telling me my kidney functions are at 3%, and I have to wait and do all of this stuff at home and dialysis and maintain a life and look at this thing in my abdomen that is horrendous while trying to be like this attractive woman for my husband, and not like feel like a gremlin. I don't know how else to call
Yeah.
it. And so we're maintaining life, and through all of this, like we've had strife and conflict externally, right? And my husband and I, we talk about this often because we're able to go, like when there's a riff between us, we stop and we come back together and we look at what is happening. So the fodder that is happening around us of external problems, to the point where we're like, this isn't us. This, like, we're good. Our home life is good. Our kids have everything they need. Like, we might not have all the money in the world, but we're happy. Like, things are good. And so we had the night before, so leading up to all of this, like I've gone through all these hoops, and it's like another moment of like joy, right? Like, woohoo, I am able to be back on the list, and they could be calling me at any moment. But then like time keeps going and the joy dwindles because you're like waiting for the phone to call and nobody's calling. So we have
So
game
when
night.
was this? Sorry, I know you said
No, you're good.
When was this that you were
So
waiting, like the waiting
this was
period?
from like July of 23 to September, like that
Okay.
period. So July of 23 to September, we're like, we figured out how to make our own. I'm making bread. I'm doing all of these things. I'm like reconnecting with the parts of me that I love, right? Like being a homemaker, of making bread and doing canning and all of these things that I love, and giving people, like raising chickens and eggs and all of these things. And like, do you need eggs? I've got eggs. Do you need bread? I'll make you bread. Like, because I love to feed people. Like, that's side note. Like, feeding people is my love language. So I'll try new recipes and be like, here, honey. And he's like, I'm going to be fat. Like, stop. And my kids are like, are you really going to make me eat that? I'm like, well, it's venison. I mean, it's good for you. Right. So, the night before we got the phone call, we had made like homemade pizzas with dough that I had made, and my husband had barbecued it or smoked it. And we had like night, and we had played Monopoly, and it was so humbling to be present with family.
I just finished up this conversation with Erin Barnhart, and this is part 1 to a part 2 series for her story to share. And this first part, I hope you enjoyed. The next episode, we will dive into the kidney transplant and how this whole process unfolded for her, and how this whole journey that she's been on has kind of come full circle. So please join me in the next episode to finish part 1 and part 2 series for Erin's journey. Thank you for joining me and listening to the Kindred Journey podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please consider taking the time to rate and review the podcast, and share this episode with family and friends who you think might enjoy it. Your positive feedback helps me reach more courageous women like you. This is my passion project, so without you, I wouldn't be here doing this, and I deeply appreciate your support. Until next time.